Hello. We did it, guys. We got it 100% correct. The second week in a row. The modalities anyways. Everything else we got quite a bit wrong. Again. Although I do apologize if I helped anyone else get it wrong, a guest video is just to get stuff out there and get the ball rolling. And the best part about being wrong is looking at what you need to work on for the next typing. I suppose let's hop right into it, first with comparing my guess with the official typing. My guess was MF, FeNi, blast, sleep, consume, and play last. The official type is MF, TeNe, play, blast, sleep, and consume last. Although my first impression was that she was TE, I think I got a little bit off track after typing Robert Pattinson. For him, I really thought he was FI, or at least had FI in there. And I think I took that pattern I was seeing there and tried putting it in here. I think to help with this in the future, I need to look a lot more closely at how personal the feelings actually are. And that means the feelings towards other people in the interviews and that sort of thing. Another thing I want to look more for in the future is how much they are actually screwing up the vibe. Besides that, I had a really hard time catching the block banging or anything like that, along with actually seeing the demon FI of how she interacted with other people. The other issue I had was trying to figure out how she was OE, and I think a big part of this was how her blast was double activated. I think the biggest thing is that I didn't take enough time on this coin. And another factor I didn't quite consider was how long it actually takes her to get to the point when she is talking. And sometimes it seemed like she didn't even have a point to begin with. And I think this is kind of connected to how people that are Savior OI usually have a way of doing things. And I don't think she really had it, and I don't think I was tracking that very well. If I would have gotten the coins that she was play and OE, that could have helped me narrow it down to her being an energy dom and even considering the 2x blast. Speaking of play, I think the biggest aspect that would have helped me figure out that she was lead play was focusing more on trying to track the channel changing about others. I seem to keep putting too much focus on looking for actual pinging going on in the moment and trying to see that as being play. Another thing that would have really helped me was looking at her closer in comparison to someone like Daniel Craig, who is Savior Sleep. Seeing those two next to each other should have really helped me get a better idea of where she was at on the energy spectrum, because she is clearly more extroverted and expends way more energy than he does. Now, about the consume last. This animal being last is something I don't have very well studied, so this is gonna be a good experience for me in the future. I'm gonna start looking at consume last as being more about already thinking they have enough information. And another part of that is also learning in the moment. They're not going back and pulling up information directly from where they learned something from, and they're more so always referring to a specific experience where in the moment this idea came to them. This fits pretty well into their anecdote that it's almost like they're getting their answers from God. The example Dave and Shan used in the class, and one that I think best fits this description, is how she met her husband. As she explains it, she just saw him in a magazine and then just decided that she was going to marry him a little bit after they first met, and then 4 months later they were married. Looking at that from my perspective as a crazy IP consume first, I can't imagine not putting any thought into it besides just that. So it's something really interesting to kind of dissect. And I think that's about all I have for specific notes on where I went wrong and where to do better next time. This video is a little short, so hopefully next time I can shove even more information in there to help with future classes. For this last section, I just want to focus a little bit on some main points I took notes on from the class. The first point I found interesting was a note Shan made about how everyone can see your DI, no matter if you're a crazy EJ or some other type. I'm not sure exactly what to take from this, but to me it seems like they're trying to say that yourself and your wants are going to come out eventually, no matter if you're angry, sad, or whatever other emotion you're experiencing. I think this is an interesting note as well, because I think this could really help in the future of understanding that you're going to see people's DIs but that doesn't mean that they are savior DI, and that should help a lot when focusing on that coin. Another point of the video I find kind of hard to articulate is them talking about some patterns about how people that are SI demon have different control issues when it comes to items that seems to differ from people that are demon SE. A lot of this idea seems to be more about how the sensory is a lot more personal compared to the SE. I'm mostly just throwing this idea out there because I find it really interesting and I'm hoping to look at tracking that more in the future. If any of you can add any more depth to this idea, you should let me know in the comments below. The last note I wanted to make was about the extroverted functions in general and how they are about getting people on board, and this isn't just the decider functions. This idea I think is kind of connected to what I just said about SI being more personal. And to me, before this class, I was thinking more that the personal side of things was only related to the decider axis. But it seems like this also applies to the observer axis, where the NE and SE functions in a person want to be shared and have people get on board with those, compared to the SI and NI, where people want to keep them closer to themselves, where it's more personal. And one little example they said on this was how a NI person being asked about the patterns they found and them telling the person to go see the patterns for themselves. Like it's kind of weird that someone wants to go find your personal patterns and instead you want the other person to go just find their own. I'm not sure how exactly useful this note is, but I guess the future will tell. And I think that's about it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.